What are you willing to do? Thank you for clicking on this video. This is Kiara with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with my review for season 1, episode 14 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's see what the title of this particular episode is. Ragecation. Okay, so once again, thank you for clicking on this video. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with someone who you think will enjoy it. My goal of today is to get this video down to like 25 minutes. So we're going to go through the stuff real quick, okay? So first off, we pick up where we left off with Kimmy and Maurice, with Kimmy feeling like her feelings were just not put into consideration. And I think it's something to be said for Maurice realizing that now that he's a husband and not just a 7-year boyfriend, that he has to be more considerate of his wife's feelings. And it gets to the point of almost like permission, just a little bit. Like, you need to ask your wife's permission before you invite your ex-wife, who is definitely going to be a problem, to come move to the same city as her. And it's not like, permission, because it's not like she's his mama or something, it's like a step below permission. It's like, if your wife says it's not okay, then maybe don't do it. Okay. So anyways, there's some growth that needs to happen there. And Kimmy reacted the exact way Maurice's sister said she would. So moving on. Next, we see that they're all down. They're having friendship pancakes. They're cooking. Mel has the girls out. Neville and his wife, whose name I don't remember, end up showing up. I feel like they're not going to add much to the equation. But we'll see. A fifth couple really adds to the dynamic. I hope they're not like piling it on a little bit too much. Like one couple per half season is like enough. But we'll see how the 5 couples interact together. So we see that Mel is beginning to not feel well. Oh no, let's talk about, oh boy, what's his name? Martell FaceTimes his therapist, which is actually nice. Like, that's a nice thing for his therapist to do. I hope he got paid for that, But anyways, Martell is looking for a magic solution to get himself back in the bed with his wife. And the therapist, I like the therapist, okay? The therapist is like, you know what? It's not about you getting back in the bed with her. It's about, what are you willing to do to redevelop your relationship with your wife? Because I would have to talk to your wife to really figure out why she doesn't want you to sleep in the bed with her. So he's trying to encourage him to bring Mel to therapy. And I want to see that therapy session. I want to see Mel's, hear her point of view to an actual neutral third party, because she's been telling her problems to people who aren't really neutral. She's been telling her problems to Martell's cousin, her hairdresser, and to their financial advisor, who also knows Martell. And it's like, you talk to a third party and maybe y'all can get some real resolution, okay? But we'll see what happens next. All right, now we're back. So, we see that Mel is telling her husband, I want a pickle. I think I'm pregnant. The way she said it was real funny to me. I think I'm pregnant. And Martell's eyes, little beady eyes, just lit up like, oh, that's how I'm going to get back in the bed. You saw how he weaseled his way back into the bed with his wife, scooted her over and pretended to be concerned about her, but was really just trying to get her to remember what it was like to be in the bed next to him, and for him to know that he might be a father again. He was just excited that was his end. Like, he's like, I did it. I found my way back to her heart. Okay, it was serendipity for Martell. How do I feel about that? I don't know. It's not really for me to feel, but I'm here to talk about my opinions. I feel like on one hand, it's like, Girl, this is the absolute worst time for you to be pregnant. And it's real bad to say that about somebody's husband. Like, that's your husband. That's what you're supposed to do, is have babies and whatnot. But, considering what y'all been going through, it's the worst time. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. So there's a book called Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. But in the book, one of the main characters is a lady who kind of gave up her dreams of being a scientist to be like a wife and a mom. And so the guy she married was actually her professor in college. And once they started their relationship, she quit school and she got pregnant and whatever. So at one point, she just got tired of it. She had 2 kids and was a housewife, and she was just like real upset about her not following through with her dreams. So she left her husband and her kids behind and enrolled in school, a few states over, and just left her husband and her kids behind. And she had her own apartment and she was going to school. And then one day she just had like a episode of being sick in like a grocery store parking lot. And then she realized that she was pregnant. And at that point, she knew she had to go back to her family because there was no way that she could finish school and take care of a baby. And so she felt trapped. And like she said, having the baby severely complicates things with Martell. There might be like guilt surrounding like giving their 4th child a different experience of their relationship than their other 3 children, because their other 3 children know of being like a whole family, their family dynamic of being dad and mom in the house together, even if they are in separate beds. But this 4th baby, depending on where Mel wants to take it, may never experience their parents being like one unit. So it's gonna be interesting. One tender moment that I really saw was when what's her name? Jesus. Kimmy. Jesus. Okay, it's hard for me to remember their names, especially with all the M's. But Kimmy goes and talks to Mel and checks in on her. Mel's, of course, not feeling well, but they have a conversation, and Kimmy tells her about the conversation she had with Maurice. Apparently, we find out that Maurice interrupted Kimmy's after-sex glow to tell her that messed up news. I'd be mad too. I'd be crying on the porch too. I'm like, here feeling good and feeling wonderful, and now he comes to tell me some bad news. But anyways, y'all, did y'all see I didn't like the lipstick Kimmy was wearing. It reminded me of like the lipstick that Beyonce was wearing in like the Bootylicious video, and it doesn't go with her skin tone. She's has a very nice brown, like light brown complexion, and the yellow goldish didn't really go with her skin tone. I didn't really care for it, but anyways, it was tender to see Mel and her have that moment, and at least they have a good, friendship and relationship, and to see, them crying together and talking about the stuff that was going on with her. And it's weird because arguably Mel still does have the worst stuff going on with her marriage and relationship, but she does have a lot of opinions about what's going on with Kimmy and Maurice. It's one of those pot calling the kettle black things, I think. I don't know. Let's see what happens next. All right. So it looks like it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. It's common sense that asking your ex-wife and her husband to move down into a house that you pay for without talking to your wife first is like common knowledge that it's dumb. So, what's your excuse, Maurice? I found it interesting that the other men in the room who have clearly been married longer, knew that it was a bad idea for him to bring that conversation up to his ex-wife before he talked to Kimmy about it. I think it's very interesting. Maybe it's, years of adjusting to being married to your, married to your wife and understanding, going through those initial stages of figuring out what's appropriate, what do we need to talk about first before I make a move on, growing pains of relationships and whatnot. So, this was a pretty big thing for him to mess up on, though. It was interesting that, I feel like I kind of sided with Siddharth, and I don't really care for Siddharth, but in that particular situation, I was with him. Okay. There is one alternative that he doesn't seem to want to do, because he felt like this is like going to the ends of the earth for his son and that he has no other alternative. Take Kaiwa's behind to court. Take her to court. Get custody of your son, okay? And if it's court order, she can't do nothing about it, right? Okay? She's not going to renege, because right now she has you by the balls because she's dangling your son in front of you like a carrot until you give her what she wants, which is to be closer to you and messing up your marriage with Kimmy. See? Figure it out. She's being manipulative. I think it's evident that she's being manipulative, and Maurice is just playing into it. He thinks he's removing obstacles. Kaiwa is just, being manipulative and is finally getting what she wants, okay? I'm with Siddharth. It was interesting to me that the person who actually sided with Maurice was Martell, and how judgy he was. Super judgy of all the other men because they either don't have kids or don't spend time with their kids, like Martell. He said Marcel don't spend time with his kids, poor thing. And he's like, I don't even know the extent to which Siddharth is involved in the life of his children. And Martell was, it irks me. On one hand, it's like, it's nice of Martell to be the only person who kind of has this understanding about where Maurice is coming from. But then it's also irritating to hear to hear Martell talk about other people's family situations when he's the one who has been funding the life of a whole additional girlfriend on the side. You talking about Marcel don't pay attention to his kids. Well, how much attention do you not pay to your kids because you over here messing around with your side chick? You got a lot of nerve. Another pot calling the kettle black. Okay. But anyways, we see the ladies in the hot tub. All the ladies except Mel. Pregnant ladies can't get in hot tubs, right? Is that right? I don't know. Anyways, they're in the hot tub and the ladies are all talking about Tisha and Mel's relationship. And Tisha, despite what she said about, I don't care anymore, all positivity, she actually does care about the relationship that she had with Mel, and it's just all gone sour now that things have gotten personal. It was bad. Like, it's interesting that Kimmy said at the onset of their friendship that they were good friends. And I'm like, really? Because for as long as we've known them on this show, they don't seem to have a good relationship. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see them have a conversation later in this episode, I think. So let's see what happens next. I'm gonna say one more thing about these two new wives that are in the hot tub. These are some peacemaking ladies, and we need some pot stirring ladies, okay? We're gonna shake things up, okay? So we'll see how well they fit into the dynamics of the group. All right, now, so we have the couples making things in the kitchen, and interestingly enough, Marceau is participating in cooking and Maurice is not. It's not just because he's sick. It's because he can't cook. He says he put water in cereal. I know he misspoke, but it's really telling about his cooking skills. But anyways, the whole couples cooking in the kitchen thing is interesting. They're making 4 different entrees. It's a lot of food. Anyways, Tisha asked Mel to go have a conversation, and things start out pleasant or nice nasty. I don't know what you want to call it. Things start out pleasant, and then they get terrible. Okay. They start off and Tisha, this is I think the first time where I kind of understand where Mel is coming from when she calls Tisha like a victim. Tisha, girl, Tisha is rather upset. Excuse me. Tisha is rather upset that Martell won't apologize for trying to destroy her family. And I do think that there's something to that. Like, given that is Martell's marriage is on the verge of divorce, and she on here visiting divorce lawyers, should be a reason for him not to spread allegations to do the same thing to Marceau and Tisha's marriage. So I do think that she has a point there. But I think Mel had a point when she was saying, like, you're not all about positivity all the time. And now, oh girl is becoming defensive. Tisha is becoming defensive. And y'all, I don't know that she can honestly say that her husband has never cheated on her. I don't know. We'll see where the conversation goes next. So that went left really quickly. The chat with Tisha and Mel didn't go so well. So we have both of them continuing to sit down to have a conversation, and things get rowdy. Interestingly enough, I'm usually on Tisha's side when it comes to Mel and Tisha's beef. But Mel had a point. I gotta give it to her. Tisha is not as innocent and blameless in this situation as she purports to be. And I think Tisha is almost a little juvenile in her thoughts about friendship. Like, she's one step beyond friendship contracts. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I think Mel was right to ask for the same amount of respect that Tisha was asking for from Mel. And then things just kind of go left when things just kind of go left because Tisha was like, okay, let's not take any jabs at each other. And then things like get weird when she's like, it's kind of like you're an ex-boyfriend. Like, I don't wish no ill will on you, but we like not close like that no more. And that was just like the tipping point for Mel. Mel thinks that that Tisha's in denial and that she needs to come to mimosas with Mel, and that Tisha's not exempt. I don't know, y'all. It didn't go well. I think they need to just chalk this one up and like in a year, maybe like get together and be like, girl, we was both tripping. Let's start over. I think they need a reset in their friendship. If they ever have a friendship again. So anyways, yeah, that went left. And then Tisha was so upset that she had to talk to her husband outside and was upset about it. And once again, Tisha says, that she told Mel, my husband has never cheated. And Marceau didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing like, that's right. He didn't do anything to affirm or confirm that he has been a faithful husband all the way through. Y'all, Marceau, he's looking guilty. Yeah, he's looking guilty to me. Okay. And the little pep talk he gave her was a little, deflection. Like, don't let her impact you and all that stuff. Y'all, Marceau looks guilty to me. All right now, they just don't want this vacation to go right. Okay, so they are having a conversation about marriage. What's the best thing about marriage? And then it becomes a back and forth between Tisha and Marceau versus Melody and Martell. And they're having this back and forth session. There was a point where I was like, okay, girl, to Tisha, like, oh, do you ever just lay with your spouse and think about like how much you love them, and do you think that they can feel that energy? I was like, girl, what you talking about? I thought that was a weird question. I thought that was weird. I feel like, some people just like talk to hear themselves talk. And that felt like one of those moments. But of course, here goes Mel stirring the pot. And it's like, oh, do you really think it's in a man's DNA to like not cheat on his wife? Do we just have expectations for it not to happen and blah, blah, blah? And there's some discussion around the table. Of course, things turn sour when she definitely talks about Tisha to her face. And Tisha was woman enough to own up to it. Well, I said that, and I have never experienced that. And I don't think Tisha is lying. I think that she is in denial. And there's a difference. Okay? I think that prior to Martell bringing up the allegations of Marceau cheating, I don't think she even caught a whiff of Marceau cheating before. And I think to preserve her life, to preserve her marriage, she is putting on blinders so that she won't find or come across any evidence or bring up any memories of like, oh, he was out late that night. Maybe he was cheating. I think that she's in denial, which is not the same as lying, I don't think. Marceau, once again, has not come out and said, I never cheated on my wife, y'all. Again, Marceau's looking guilty. I think Mel was just definitely wrong for turning all the way around in that seat and like making that face. I'm just over Mel and Tisha's dynamic, and I think that Mel was basically wrong for coming after Tisha in front of everybody. If she don't want to have sit downs and she don't want to talk about it no more, don't be bringing up topics at the dinner table that stirs up more trouble between you and her. I think Mel thinks that she is better and smarter than Tisha, and that she can play these types of games and Tisha won't be able to match wits. That's my thought. And it's funny how she was saying, my time is too precious than to sit up here and talk in circles. If your time was so precious, why'd you even bring it up in the first place? You know that you were going to take it there to where you were going to talk about Tisha. I'm just full of crap. Everybody at the table full of crap. So Dark's face at one point was pretty funny. He was like, I think Sadark's growing on me. But anyway, we'll see what happens next time. This was an interesting episode. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with someone who you think will enjoy it. I'll see if it's less than 25 minutes this time around. Peace out, home slices.